Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another World Cup centric podcast here at Top Ends with Twins. We are both so happy to be checking in with an update on how the USMNT did in their first World Cup game against Paraguay. Not Panama, as some would know from our last podcast, but yeah, me and Luke are really excited to be here today. Yeah, Luke, how are you feeling right now?
Feeling really good about where we're at right now. I feel like we were just fortunate enough, and everyone else out there as well, to watch arguably the best performance for this U.S. men's national team in their World Cup history. Right, like
Yep.
it was truly a inspirational and, for me, aspirational performance, because this raises the ceiling for what this team can do in this tournament. As we know, in the last episode that we did, and we talked about the U.S. men's national team, I'm a little pessimistic going into it. I was
Okay.
because
A little.
and the reason why I'm saying why I've been in that perspective for the longest time is because I know how talented this team is,
Yeah.
but we've never been able to really put it together. We haven't strung together consecutive good performances like this. And seeing this on the World Cup stage in front of everyone watching, I'm now renewed. I have been rejuvenated, and I am now once
We're locked
again
in.
I guess I'm an adolescent eagle as well.
So, a believer. He's a believer.
I am. But I'm very excited about this team. I feel like that's why we go get Pochettino, right? Because we literally had, I hate using that word, but we have literally had our best World Cup performance in a World Cup since 1930. So almost going back 100 years, which is pretty mind blowing whenever you think about that. It's been so long. So, best performance Paul and I have ever seen in our lifetime.
Yeah, in a World Cup, there's no doubt.
Maybe some people around have witnessed 1930 and they can say that arguably might have been better, but we cannot because we're not that old. But we're very happy about this performance. And I think we are very excited to talk about what's going on with this U.S. men's national team and also the World Cup as a whole, right? Some of the really key performances and results that have happened so far. And then we'll kind of wrap on talking about what we expect for the U.S. versus Australia, which will be a really, I mean, now that we have 3 points, it is a very important fixture, but there's not as much on the line,
the
and not
pressure
as
a little
much
bit,
on the line for this one, right? So maybe we can just go out and play the football that we like playing for that. So
yeah, no, I think that's a great point, Luke. And also, if you are somebody that does like soccer in general, or you're getting into it, feel free to subscribe. I mean, we do a lot of stuff typically on the Premier League, English football, that kind of stuff. But if you want to follow on the World Cup journey, just see how things are going for us, give us a like, comment. If you have questions, you want to just honestly talk to us about stuff, let us know. I mean, we're very engaged on Blue Sky, on X.
more so Blue Sky at this point.
Boo
And
X.
another good reason why you should follow and subscribe is I've been on an incredible amount of coffee lately with the World Cup.
He's got a coffee right now, like
we're
5:30.
filming at about 6:00 tonight, and I'm on a coffee right now. So stay tuned. Who knows what will happen?
Locked in
as we go into this. So we've got Argentina, Algeria later tonight to watch.
I'm pumped,
and
dude.
that is one reason why I'm having this coffee right now. So I'm excited.
I think Norway and who is it? Iraq are about to play. I have the little ticker that I added to my phone. Yeah, it's Norway, Iraq that kicks off here in about 8 minutes. So I think just that's a good segue for us here, Luke, that in general, I can tell you all that just kind of based on my experience. I'm not going to speak for Luke here, but I have really been like kind of really just diving back into why I love football / soccer so much, because just having these games where these like big moments for these teams, like let's use Cape Verde against Spain for one. Like, I think if you would have talked to any rational football fan beforehand when that match took place, it's like, yeah, that's 2-3-0, whatever the situation is, bare minimum 2-0, I'd say, right? And for a team of Cape Verde's level to come out there and
who
really
have some decent players.
They do, absolutely.
They do. Yeah.
But Spain is an absolute juggernaut in this World Cup. And yes, Lamine Yamal was not starting.
Neither was Nico Williams.
But even in saying that, like, they're one of the deepest teams in the tournament,
to their detriment as well, when you have Fran Torres trying to finish chances.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
not boding well for you unless he's really on form in that day. He's a player I think you can't consistently rely on, and he's not going to be able to spearhead the Spanish attack without those other supporting pieces,
Yeah.
in my
Yep.
opinion. So,
Yeah.
but like you're saying, Paul, there have been some incredible
I
moments.
mean, Germany Curacao.
Yes,
That one was great
that's
too.
another one to look at. I mean, look at Cape Verde's goalkeeper, right? He's 40 years old. He actually has been playing in Ireland for pretty much the longevity of his career because he had, Cape Verde connections where he could, potentially have citizenship there. He was playing in Ireland. Cape Verde realized that he was eligible to play for their country, so they sent him a LinkedIn message, and he didn't
I
respond
actually
to
didn't
it.
know the story.
He didn't respond to it because it was in Portuguese. And then, this is on Twitter, so parts of this might be made up, but we're going to go with it. But then a year later, they sent him the message in English, and then he decided to play for them because he could understand what they were saying, which is pretty crazy, right? But he was instrumental to that performance for Cape Verde, right? Where he made some very influential saves and really kind of set the tone for their team. And that, very impressive result for them, drawing with Spain. I had my hesitations about Spain coming into this World Cup. I think that, you know, in the past, maybe they've overperformed a little bit. And I don't think they have that validated, trustworthy goal scorer that really makes me have the utmost confidence in them, as opposed to someone, like France, who has Mbappe, arguably the best player in the world right now.
Germany with Kai Havertz.
Yeah. Kai Havertz has been incredible. But like you're saying, Paul, that's one of the other great moments of this tournament where Germany is playing Curacao. Early on in the tournament, I think that was the
Second day.
third or fourth day of the tournament. And Germany scores early, right? And you're like, okay, here comes the thrashing. Germany is going to romp all over them. But Curacao looked good, right? They had Germany on the ropes for a
smallest
while.
countries in this tournament, right?
One of the
To ever
smallest
qualify.
countries. And they scored a goal. They equalized against Germany, one of the biggest federations in the entire world. Historically, one of the best federations where they've won World Cups multiple times. In our previous episodes, we talked about this. I think they've won 3 World Cups. It might be more than that.
I think
2 or 3 is my best guess. But as you know, like that's a huge accomplishment, and that just the players they've had play for their badge speaks to how good of a federation they've been for long career. And Curacao equalized against them, which was absolutely incredible to see. Of course, Germany ended up winning 7-1, but Curacao was actually really good, right? I think that they presented some problems, and Germany just happened to find the back of the net 7 times. I think the scoreline was a bit deceptive.
Yeah. I mean, Germany were easily the better team.
They were.
I watched that whole match.
But Curacao had them on the ropes for a stretch there, right?
Yeah. Which is something that we should talk about here, Luke, is that the hydration breaks.
No. The ad breaks.
The ad break, commercial break. Sorry, I misphrased it. I have too much FIFA right now. But the hydration breaks, and you could hear that people are like, players are already giving this feedback that it is swinging the momentum of these matches.
It is
massively.
It is. Yep.
Like the Germany game, they give up the goal, they go into the hydration break, they look better afterwards. And you're going to see this too all throughout the tournament where teams are going to be, there's going to be moments where they're on the ropes. You go back, you get like that 5 to 10 minutes or however long FIFA decides they want to keep the ad breaks, and Fox will willingly play as a million ads as they can. You're going to get those moments where teams are going to like basically the dynamics and the tempo of these games is going to change because of that, which is really upsetting.
I'm also committed to learning Spanish over this World Cup because Telemundo is not broadcasting any ads.
Yep.
So at this point, I've watched, out of all of the matches we've had, I've watched one on Fox Sports, right, through American broadcasts.
Not missing much, dude.
And I notice a big difference, right? I get more out of watching the match in Spanish than I do of watching the English broadcast, where then you're being blared with ads, which are even going into the start of play.
Yep.
Right. I do not I understand how it's happened, right? FIFA has decided that monetizing this World Cup is the bottom line most important thing, and that's how we've gotten here. But where I really am frustrated with it is
where it changes.
We're
the
here
game.
to watch the sport. Like that's the most important thing. So, yeah, but I think
They just don't give a fuck. They don't care. Fox doesn't care. Like
Yeah.
none of these people, they're supposed to like shepherd and be there as a guiding force to like produce the best possible product for how the game's displayed,
Right.
are doing
Right.
the things they should. And that's
Yep.
just we have podcasts before this where we can kind of dive more into, you can go back and look at older videos we have talking about that. But kind of what I want to touch on, Luke, and I think there was a video we put out before the World Cup where we were talking about players and how this tournament really boils down to moments and specific instances. It may be too early. We don't have to go in too much into it. But if you had to pick out one moment from the World Cup so far that stood out to you, and it doesn't have to be US centric, it can be one big moment you think that, and obviously we're not all the way through the group stages, so there's a lot of things to change just to let everybody know out there. But is there anything that stands out to you?
Well, I am going to be biased in this answer, and I think a lot of people might have a different one, right? Because
I know where this is going.
I'm wearing red, white, and blue. Paul's wearing a Borussia Dortmund kit with
Vintage now.
so happens to be Gio Reyna, who is going to be my moment at the tournament so far. US is up 3-1. We're going late into added time, and there were about 7 minutes added, about 96 and a half minutes or so. And the prince who was promised steps right up, bends a beautiful Travella into the far corner.
After the US connected 26 passes.
Yes, it was that, and that's one of the moments that I think a lot of fans that let's say you're a casual fan of the sport, right? And you watch that passage of play from the US, that's going to stand out to you, right? Because it's one of those where, we pass the ball around very intricately. There's a really good build up, and then you have this beautiful goal where it's outside the foot, curled around the defender, kind of blindsides the goalkeeper a little bit, and finds the back of the net. It's just one of those moments that I think in our previous podcast, I said that Gio Reyna needs to have a really impactful performance in the first match of this World Cup, and that will set the tone. And he had that, right? And it just, for everything he's been through and from where he was at when he was coming onto the stage at Borussia Dortmund, the past 5 years for him have been incredibly difficult.
Yep.
Right. There's no denying that. Let's look at the moment in time when he was assisting Erling Haaland against PSG in the Champions League as a 17-year-old. I think at that point Haaland was 18 and he was 17. And just let's look at the difference in their careers at this point, right? Haaland's at Man City. He's shattering Premier League goal scoring records. And Gio hasn't found a spot that he could land at that would be a good home for him in a place where he could really thrive. So maybe what this does, right, is that we know he's a player who plays with the utmost confidence, right? You don't try that if you don't have confidence in your ability.
Absolutely.
So I just think maybe this could be the springboard for him to find that right fit. So I'm really excited for him. He's one of those players where I still think he's our most talented player in this squad. I personally don't have any doubt about that. Just a matter of whether the pieces fit together for him and he can really figure it out. So, look at some players who have rejuvenated their careers over the past couple of years, right? Players who we thought were written off and maybe we're going to be a bust, like Dembele, has had a great couple of years after going to PSG, getting his feet back underneath of him, and he won the Ballon d'Or, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those where I don't know if that's in the cards for Gio, but I really do think that as a whole,
Anything's possible.
That was the moment that I'm most connected with up to in this World Cup at this point in time. So I will pose the question to you, Paul. What do you think has been your moment of the tournament so far?
I mean, my bias, I think I agree with you with Gio. I think a close second, or even depending on your perspective, would be Raul Jimenez scoring in Mexico's first game in Mexico, with everything that's gone into his career, almost having a injury back in 2020 against Arsenal where he could have died.
Yeah.
Didn't know if he'd ever play football again.
Mm-hmm.
And in the light, too, of also, I think his father passing away somewhat recently, and then scoring for Mexico in the World Cup, just kind of like validating and like all the things you hear too about him. from like club, country, all this stuff. Just seems like he's a really respectful human being, and like how he conducts himself is just, something where, I mean, you just love
Hey,
seeing
and
moments like that.
he's going back to Wolves this
He's
summer,
going back to Wolves, which is going to be a challenge
but
playing the championship.
Rob Edwards won't be there.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you heard about the controversy that's going on?
No, I haven't heard about
Where
this.
Trippier wants out of his contract because they fired Rob Edwards right after he signed his contract with
Oh,
them.
I did not know about this.
Yeah, it's we'll
I've
talk
been
about it later.
pretty
This is a
pretty
little off the beaten track of what we're talking about here. So,
World
um,
football always delivers
it always does. It
with the
always
drama.
does. Yeah.
But I just the Jimenez, everything he'd gone through, and I will tell you, I mean, we're adjacent to kind of like some of the Mexico like press, all that stuff, just from being in CONCACAF, that kind of stuff. It is not easy playing for the Mexico national team. There's a lot of pressure associated with that, and this is a Mexico team that has underperformed, I'd say, over the past probably 10 years,
Maybe
and
even more than that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd say for sure more than that. But just to see, even if there's the rivalry between the U.S. and Mexico, like you still want to see players do well. You still want to see them step up on the big stage, and doing that on a World Cup and home soil is just it's why we love the beautiful game.
It is. It is. So, after reviewing our moments of the World Cup, I think what we'll do now is we're going to talk about US versus Paraguay. And then we're going to, after we do that, then we'll kind of do a little preview of what to expect for the US versus Australia. So, with that in mind, let's talk through the goals very quickly, right? I'll just do a very quick rundown and then Paul, you can talk about some of the points that stood out to you.
Yep.
So US ended up scoring first via an own goal from Paraguay's defender, Bedoya. It was one of those where, Pulisic was the impotence for all of that passage of play, right?
He was
Where
so on it, man.
he split two defenders, went across the ball, and got to McKinney after a really good split there where he kind of just jinked between the two defenders. McKinney goes to cross it, which I think probably would have found Dest, is what my thought was.
He
It was
was
going
he
to
was
trickle
pretty he was
across.
unmarked, I think, at the back post.
I think it was going to find Dest, but what ended up happening is it bounces off the defender's foot. It looks like he was maybe trying to clear it to an extent, ends up going in the back of the net. Great start to the match, but I also think the pressure the US was exerting at that point was the reason why the goal happened, right? It wasn't just unfortunate chance that happened against the passage of play. So then come the next two goals from none other than Florian Balogun. He scores in the 31st minute, then also right before then the half in the 40 about the 49th minute or so. Um, that really sets the stage where the U.S. is dominating 3-0 going into half. We do have some shock news, though, because Pulisic does not come back out for the second half. So we were left in limbo there for a little while where we weren't sure what's happening. Turns out it was just kind of precautionary in order to do some load management, but also we're up 3-0, so why risk Pulisic at that
I think
point?
he did take a kick in
He
his
did.
calf, though.
Yeah, it was precautionary from a challenge that hit his calf, and they just decided it wasn't worth pushing it, right? So we fully expect at this point that Pulisic will be starting against Australia. That is the expectation. We haven't heard anything otherwise at this point. And then so we see Paraguay score in the 74th minute. It's one of those where once Paraguay scores, you start to think, right? Like what could happen here? You're like, are they gonna do it? And they didn't, unfortunately. And I love the subs that Pochettino made. I feel like he really kind of rejuvenated the squad, bringing on Pepe, and then also Reyna as well. Weah comes on. So I like the way that Pochettino managed the squad. And then, as we just talked about previously, Gio Reyna scores in the 98th minute to seal it and really put the stamp on this emphatic victory for the United States, right? I think there's a huge difference in the goal differential of 2 or 3. I think 3 makes a really big difference. And being that Australia has now beat Turkey, I think that puts us in a really strong position. Knowing that if we can just go and draw with Australia, we feel really good about our chances after that. But preferably, I would love for us to just go get all 3 points against Australia, and then we're for sure going to win the group at that point. So,
yeah, and I think a really good thing to bring up here, Luke, is that this is a good Paraguay team that the US just beat.
Mhm.
Like this is not a team, I mean, they are ranked 41 in the FIFA World Rankings. But I mean, if you go back and look at what they did in World Cup qualifying, like so this is going to go back to like 2025, but I mean, they beat Uruguay, they lost to Brazil 1-0, they tied with Ecuador, beat Peru, tied with Japan. Like this beat Mexico. Like this is a good team. And I mean, I think were just kind of taken aback by what the US brought to the equation. And I think it
Mhm.
was the pace, it was the intensity at which the US kind of played with the ball, but also without the ball too.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
the
That's one
US
of my main points.
press and like
Mhm.
how locked in they were. This sets the standard for what we are going to expect and what the rest of, USMNT fans and also just football fans are going to expect from them. And
Yep.
I hope
Mhm.
it's a standard they can upkeep because if they can, like I'm not going to say anything crazy in this podcast, but like they look like that performance looked like one of the better teams in this World Cup.
Yep, I agree. I think arguably it's one of the best performances by a team in this World Cup, right? I'm
Yep.
not saying we're the best team in the World Cup, but that stitching together a complete 90 minutes has really, I think, puts us up there as one of the top performers currently in the World Cup. Not that that means anything. It's just based upon the eye test, looking at some very high level statistics as well. Like, touches in the opposition box. I think we had 60, we had 53. So we're second in the World Cup currently for that, which is a really
Crazy.
good stat.
That's a
That means
huge
we're
number.
spending a lot of time in the opponent's box, a lot of chance creation opportunities. And here's my thing, right? Two main things. For one, I love our counter press. The
Yep.
counter press had a very specific intensity to it. And you could tell we've drilled on that very heavily in the limited amount of time we've had.
Hmm.
I was very impressed with for like Tillman, McKinney, Adams is always great in the press at stepping in,
But Tillman's
knowing
on the highlight, dude.
yeah, no,
He
I
is. He
he
is.
he
That's a
did
great
great.
shout out.
He did really good. I love the performance he put in. Whenever he got shifted out to the left wing after Pulisic was subbed out in the second half, you don't see as much.
There's not that much
He's
dynamism.
really not a left winger, frankly. Like he's
Yeah.
more of a central player, better in the tight spaces. He just doesn't have the pace, right? He doesn't have the athleticism to play as a true out and out left winger. But he did a serviceable job.
Hmm.
Um, so I was really happy with how we were counter pressing. And I think against a team like Australia, that's going to be really good for us. But Australia is not going to want to possess the ball.
No.
We'll talk about that here in a little bit, kind of due to their shape and just how they usually set up. I don't think we're going to be able to counter press that often. So I think a lot of Australia is going to be us trying to break them down. At times, they'll defend with six on their back line, maybe even more than that. So we've got to have a plan on how to, as Rodri said in his post match, it's really tough to play against a team that's his back. So we need to
Master
be prepared for
complainer
that.
after a
Yeah,
game. Let me tell
and
you.
Arne Slot, Liverpool's ex manager, who admitted that he doesn't know how to break down a back line. Glad we have Pochettino. So,
So,
but
Luke, real quick, have you seen the video of a like 8-year-old kid breaking down Slot's tactics?
yes, yeah, that's a good one.
Please go to YouTube and find that clip. But go ahead. Sorry, not to derail what you were
It's a
saying.
very good one. I agree. Go check it out. And while you're looking around, click subscribe.
And
But
like,
so my second point being, I really was very happy with how we performed, but I think we could have scored 7 or 8 goals in this match. There were so many opportunities whenever we had a breakaway and it was 4 US attackers to 3 Paraguay defenders, and we just made the wrong pass.
yep.
Or the pass was off by a foot or so. And it would have been very straightforward to score a goal from that position. So
Dude, Dest earlier in the game when he gets played that ball
oh, I know
across in the box
that's
by
one of
himself.
them. There's
Like,
also
and I will say, I know Dest he's more of a defender. He's more of a right back. He's playing kind of a wing position. I 9 times out of 10 would expect him to take a perfect touch and at least get a shot on goal.
yeah. No, I agree. I agree. I was shocked when he took that touch as poorly as he did. In thinking about it though, I think he's not. While he is a more attacking right back and playing a right wing back in the system, he's not usually in those opportunities, so I think it was almost the
I
moment
agree
got to him,
completely.
right? We
Yeah.
know his touch is good enough,
I think he was
right?
shocked to have that much space in front of him.
Yes,
Like,
yeah,
really.
exactly. For my World Cup fantasy team, I would have loved for that to go in,
Yeah,
but
same.
but it is what it is. So, yes, and then I think the point still stands, right? We could have scored a lot more goals in this match. Um,
Mhm.
and it's just one of those that I think we need to keep an eye on because against a little bit of higher quality and caliber opposition, we need to be a tad bit sharper.
For sure,
Um,
for sure.
and okay, third and final point on this match, and then we can get to anything you want to talk about, Paul, or we can move on to Australia. I really think that whenever we look at the first half performance compared to the second half performance, a lot of people are saying the second half wasn't as good. I think for the squad that we had out in the second half, it was an equally good performance to the first half. The difference being Pulisic is not out there, right?
Mhm.
I think, the level drops off and then Tillman's playing in position that's not natural to him and then, subs and everything. But I think for the team we had out in the second half, that was an equally high caliber performance for what you should expect from that individual group in the second half. So upon a rewatch, I was really honestly even more excited than I was after watching it for the first time. Because I thought the team in the second half looked really good. And a lot of those were moments, right, where there's a great chance where Dest is breaking in the right wing. He gets played through and then mishits the pass, right? To, I
Yep.
think it was Balagoon, right? Misses by like a foot or so. And that it pretty much would have been a tap in. Another one, Dest plays across the 6 yard box and no one's there to tap it in at the far post. And that there were so many more instances of those situations too, where I think players in the right position or just make a read in a different direction and we could have had maybe 5, 6, 7 goals, right? So
Yep. Absolutely. I think those are all great points, Luke. I think the biggest things I want to highlight are what this formation does to this US team, right? So if
hmm
you look at, the wing backs with Dest, with Jedi, and just how they can kind of function throughout the field, where Dest, as you saw, he's making runs, and we saw this in some of the friendlies that we highlighted. He's making runs as a striker at times, which is just poses a lot of like
yeah.
flexibility there where teams
hmm
don't know where he's going to show up. They don't know who's going to be making these runs. It's a great thing to have that unpredictability. But also, too, I mean, it does highlight the strengths. Like Jedi, he's great at getting back. He's great at, being a disruptive force, but also getting forward too.
yeah.
And his
Yep.
relationship with Pulisic, I think they've really developed something over the past like 3-4 years where
Yeah, I agree.
that feels like one of the best channels for the US to, be productive, go forward, and
but
just
but
have
also like that is our strongest side,
yeah,
right?
it for
Like
sure is. Yeah.
I would say Jedi is one of our best defenders, but also the way he can run is incredible, right?
Yes.
He
Yes.
is he's such a great athlete, and Pulisic is our best attacker, right? So
Mhm.
it definitely makes sense, and I completely agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, and another really cool thing too is that my girlfriend's family, they're all Orlando City fans, so I was always aware of Alex Freeman since he was probably a couple years ago, and just to see him kind of bed into this team, play kind of that right center back position, and just offer what he offers in that position, I think it really changes the complexity of what this U.S. team can do.
I have a Freeman take for you when we get to Australia.
Okay, okay, we can hear it then. But within that too, I mean, also just Weston McKennie, man, he's so good with what he does. Like, I think he's just a jack of all trades. I know we kind of disagree on him in moments, but like his ability to go box to box and offer so many things in the middle of the pitch, and the attacking and the defensive phase, like I think he's vital to this U.S. team, and if he's on top of it, like he's going to have a moment. I think probably in one of the next 2 games, or maybe it's a goal from a corner. Maybe it's just, a latch dish tackle, that kind of thing. But I think that he is gonna really be vital to how we're performing in
If
next couple games.
if you all are kind of new to the U.S. men's national team, just be prepared. Be prepared because when Weston McKennie scores, his celebration
It's the wand.
is the wand,
It's the
right?
Harry Potter
So
nerd.
be prepared for that. It's one of the best celebrations out there, I think, personally. But I agree, Paul. I've had my reservations about Weston McKinney.
Dude, he's so
There
good.
He's very good, but the flaws that I expressed on the last podcast that I'm worried about, right? Does he cover the distance the way we want him to? Is he able to play 90 minutes potentially? And he played 90 minutes. And he really looked good covering ground, right? Like I felt like there were only a couple times near the end of the match where I was like, maybe someone else would have gotten to that ball that got played through, or
Mhm.
maybe he left a gap somewhere. I didn't really have those thoughts, which I feel like when I watch him at times, that's what shows up more
Yep.
so than the
Yeah.
positives that he brings to the table, and he brings a lot of positives. So, um, I think if we can continue to get this version of Weston McKennie, then it's going to raise our ceiling much higher and
Yep.
also our floor as well.
No, I agree 100%, Luke. And besides that, other takeaways. I mean, whenever Christian Pulisic is locked in and he has that attacking mindset, it's just a terror for a back line.
Yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
because he has the ability where, like you were saying, where the first goal he beats the two defenders, it's 2-on-1, splits them, cuts through, plays that ball across the box, and just to an extremely dangerous position. Like, if you don't have two people that are sitting there with him, then he's going to probably beat that one person. And he's gotten a lot better in the past probably 3 years about finding that last ball. And he also has added to his game that he can show up in those half spaces. And you could argue maybe he's more dangerous there than he is on the wing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and
I agree.
that's
I
something
agree.
too that this team will
Hmm.
have to unlock, I think, in later games whenever they're playing teams that, will know exactly what they're trying to do. They will know all these things. Like, Pulisic is probably going to have to come in a little more and maybe be a little more unpredictable, but I just love whenever he's out there keeping the space and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
beating people.
Yeah, I think you could tell from the very start of the match that Pulisic was on it, very lively. His first step is so quick,
Yeah.
right? Where
Yeah.
you can see that against the Paraguay defender that was matched up against him. I can't remember his name, but he gets a quick yellow card, right? Because Pulisic's feet are just so quick, and he can go left, he can go right, preferably you don't want to go right because then he can get on that right foot and bend it around the keeper from outside the box because everyone knows he has that. I do. We talked about this on the last podcast. I think the officials to need to do a better job of protecting him. I was a little worried about that in this match because Paraguay clearly had an intentionality to them a little bit in the first half, where they're like, okay, we're just going to chop him. Right.
Yep.
Unfortunately, Paraguay ended up by far leading the World Cup currently in standings for number of yellow cards. They ended up getting 5 in the match. And we saw that with Pulisic. We saw it with Gio as well, right? Where Gio got chopped 4 or 5 times in the 15 minutes he was out there. But, we also saw that side of Pulisic and Gio where we're not going to stand for it. So like
Yep.
they both have that fire inside of them where like if you're going to come at me, I'm not just going to take it, right?
Yeah.
So
Make you
there were
regret it.
times where Pulisic was, yelling at the official, like, you need to do a better job of protecting this and calling these fouls and giving yellow cards. And then Gio did the same thing, right? Where he got chopped a couple of times. And then, like he's elbowing players as he's going through the match. Like there are a couple of times when he receives a ball and then kind of just throws the guy down, which I'm perfectly fine with.
Yeah, if they're
Right.
gonna
Like,
let you do it, go for it.
right.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of the pundits and ex players who used to play for the U.S. men's national team for the longest time was like, oh, this team's soft. They don't have the grit and the determination that we did. Also, well, should we mention they're more talented than your teams were, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you don't see the grit and determination because they're playing in a different way where they're trying to be more tactically advanced. They're trying to be more attacking. We're not just going to sit back and play like we used to, right?
No, toughness, defend the line. Like,
But exactly, right? And I know that's hypocritical the way you're saying it, right? But this team does have that grit and that determination. It just manifests in different ways, right?
yeah. And
Um,
I think it really is a good thing to bring up too, Luke, that like within the past 2 years, we haven't seen this from this US team. Like they've been extremely disappointing in Copa America and the last Gold Cup. And then like all these like lead up tournaments, exhibitions, whatever it is. Honestly, until the Germany and also who was it, Senegal game,
yep,
like I don't think I was like really like, man, we're gonna see how this goes. I mean, I believe in this
right,
team, but
yeah, yep,
this is a great way to start the World Cup for the US. They are they put themselves in a great position. If we look at the rest of the group, Turkey losing to Australia really does put the US in a pole position to probably win the group, especially you get
It
3
does.
points against
Yeah.
Australia. Maybe, which may be a good time. Do you wanna go ahead and dive
Yes.
into what we
Yeah.
think about the upcoming game
Let's
on
talk about
Friday?
Australia, because this match between Australia and Turkey, Australia played very well. I think Turkey also wasted the chances that they had.
Yes.
There
Mhm.
were a
100%.
couple. They definitely should have scored at least once. Turkey is who I'm referring to, and Australia converted their chances. Right. I mean, the first goal, the second goal was outside the box. I can't remember where the first one was at.
The first one
Uh,
was, a ball that was played to Chris Wood, I'm pretty sure. He took it down, played it on, got it back, and then kind of assisted to the first goal scorer. Actually, no, the first one was their winger. When he got played through, he took that touch around the defender.
Chris Wood is New Zealand, mate.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm totally thinking New Zealand. No, Australia.
It's
God.
Panama all over again.
God. Oh, man. No, that
Oh,
I'm glad
that's
you
so
called me
funny.
out on this one.
I got your back.
Thanks. This is why there's 2 of us and not just 1.
This is so true. So true.
No, 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 no.
We're here to fact check each other.
The first goal though was Aaron Kunda, I think I said that right,
Mhm.
where he gets played through, has really quick pace, gets the ball, takes a touch,
It was inside
eliminates
the
the
box.
defender,
Yeah, you're right.
scores and finishes
Mhm.
on near post. I think it was near post. But anyways, using the pace, and that's something that they are going to try to do. Australia, they're going to try to hit the US on the break in
Yeah.
situations like that,
Yeah.
and we'll see how Tim Ream does.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. I think ideally, the way that we're going to set up, we're going to know that Australia wants to sit deep and then burn us with their pace, right? So I think it's going to be very important that we continue the trend of effectively counter pressing the way that we did
Mhm.
whenever we played Paraguay. That was the first thing that stood out to me whenever I rewatched is not only are we being progressive with the ball, we're trying things. There's a lot of backheel flicks, a lot of players making runs in behind. You could see Paraguay's defense was they were losing players at times, right? We didn't always play the ball,
Mhm.
but those runs were constantly coming in behind, whether it was Tillman, Dest, Robinson, Pulisic, Balogun, McKinney. The runs were coming from everywhere,
Yep.
right? Which I love to see. I think the tough thing against Australia is that they're not going to give us that space to run into behind,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
They're going to want to sit deeper and make it really hard for us and really compact the pitch. So, what I think that means though is going into it, I think we might have to play a little more centrally and then play out wide and feed to our wingers from there. Um, what that does worry me a little bit is on the right side, I don't Dest is going to be playing as our right winger, really, right? Because Tillman kind of tucks in, and then Pulisic's playing the left wing, and
It
then
could be
Dest is
Wade
playing
that
right.
starts in this match.
I don't think so.
I don't think
Um,
so either, but I'm just saying that could be a different wrinkle.
I hope not. But I think we're going to have to break them down, but with the mentality of I'm almost guaranteeing this. I don't have any insight as to what we're training on building up to Australia, but I really think we're going to be working very intensely on our counter press, right?
Mhm.
As soon as we turn the ball over, it's scrambling, it's getting the ball back very quickly and hunting the ball in packs, right? So, because I also think Australia is a very good team. They're currently ranked 24 in the world, and they've proven that they're a good team.
Yep.
But I think our technical quality should shine through, and we've got to put them in tough positions, right? Where they've got to make tough decisions, and then hopefully our counter press allows us to really take advantage of that and create some easy opportunities. Um, but I think as far as the performance Australia put in and what we should expect going forward, like I said, they're going to play a back five. And then they're going to put four right in front of that as well with a
Mhm.
lone striker. So I expect to see a 5-4-1, and very easily at times that could be a 6-3-1 or a 6-4 at times.
Mhm.
So it's not going to be the most enjoyable watch unless we get a very early goal is how I'm feeling about it.
Yeah, and look, I think something to highlight too, just from that Turkey Australia game,
Mhm.
which I know I'm Turkey A, right? I don't know
Yes.
the
Yeah.
perfect way to pronounce that, but so Turkey had 30 total shots.
Yep.
Australia had 9,
Mhm.
8 shots on target to 4. But if you look at the XG stats according to FootMob, it's literally 1.36 to 1.18.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's extremely even, just the surface level XG. And I mean, Turkey were bombarding Australia with like
They were, but a lot of those shots
outside the box.
outside the box,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is what Australia is going to want us to do. And I think there should be an intentionality in how we play that we're not going to settle for shots outside the box unless starts to get later on, right? I think the intention needs to be we're going to play through them and we're going to get easy goals as that's going to be the aspiration, right? If there's a great opportunity right outside the box, sure, take a crack, take a hit at it. But I think Australia is going to go into the match saying if we can get them to take 30 shots, but 24 of them are outside the box, we'll live with that.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I think this game really is going to boil down to probably little moments of transition, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
can the U.S. defend this Australia team whenever they want to break? Can they even capitalize on moments where Australia have tried to break, and can we get the ball back down the pitch quickly while they're kind of out of shape because it is going to be tough to do. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say this U.S. has to look at this opportunity at this game as an opportunity to say, hey, if we take 3 points out of this match, we go 6 points clear, 6 points in the group, right? The Turkey game really probably doesn't matter, right? Because if you look at it holistically, right? If Turkey they could win their last one and then the last game, and I guess probably fight the U.S. for the first seed. But even if Turkey like dropped points in their next game against Paraguay, the U.S. like I mean, if you see a tie with Paraguay and Turkey,
Yep.
the U.S. is in pole
Mm-hmm.
position. Like
Yeah.
they could rest people in the last game of the
Yep.
group. You know,
I mean that would be ideal, right? Let's say we even see, the US, we beat Australia, right?
Mhm.
That would be the ideal result we want to see. And then if Turkey and Paraguay draw, then like you're saying, I think we should probably rest people like Pulisic, put him on the bench. Let's start Gio Reyna instead,
Yeah,
right? Let's get people minutes
or
so
even
that
Brendan Aronson, all these people that don't have time. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, and say like we end up losing that match, so be it, right?
Yeah,
Like
that's
it's one
fair.
of those where we already have a really good goal differential. Maybe we can add to that against Australia, and if we can get to 6 points with going into the final match, then we'll feel really good about it. The caveat being, this World Cup has been moving really strange, right? We've seen a
Yeah,
lot of teams
yeah.
that potentially should be winning matches and they haven't. So the bracket for what the knockouts may look like could be very different than what we expected. Um, I don't think that's any reason not to come first in your group, but maybe we do get a surprise at some point where we think, we've got a great run to the round of 16. Maybe we actually don't. So I think it'd
Or
be fair just to keep an eye on that.
yeah, I think that's a wonderful point to make because there's just so many moving pieces right now that we don't have a clear idea of what the pathway would look like.
Yep.
And it could be a situation too where maybe if the chaos kind of still continues, maybe the US, if they finish first in the group, have a kind of walkway to get to the round of 16 or 8
Yeah.
that would be easier. Like
Hmm.
you just don't know at this point really what that's going
Yeah.
to look like.
Yep.
But I mean, it would be a doomsday scenario. Let's say if Spain come in third in their group and the US gets matched with them because I mean,
Yeah.
you really want to
Yeah.
avoid all of the, probably top 4 teams as long as you can. But
For sure. Yeah.
hey, we'll
Although
see.
if we were going to get one of the top 4 teams, let's say it's, based upon my list, Spain, France, maybe Argentina, and then Germany, I would say.
Hmm.
Out of those 4, I would rather play Spain, frankly. Right?
I don't
Germany
know.
terrifies me. France absolutely terrifies me. Too much talent. And I think, Argentina, I'm very fearful of what Messi could do. And the Argentina team is built for him. So,
Yeah.
we'll just see how it plays out. But I think the teams I really don't want to see early on in the tournament would be France, Germany. Um,
Teams you just listed. Is that what you're saying?
France and Germany are probably top of the list for me. Those are the ones I think
Yeah.
we have to avoid at all costs.
I would actually I'm not going to say anything on this podcast to jinx us, but I would agree with those two. And from there, I think realistically, just looking at like how this term has played out so far, there's teams that haven't played. I think England's a team you do also want to avoid as well. Like
Yeah,
they just
I didn't want to have my bias show too much, so I didn't mention
like
them.
Thomas Tuchel. I think that if English fans are worried about this World Cup, like he is a great tournament manager,
Yeah, he
and they
is.
have just such a wealth of talent all the way through the squad. Like the more and more as the tournament goes on, we'll see how England do. I think they play tomorrow for the first time.
They do. Yep.
So we get Argentina tonight, we get England tomorrow. It'll be good to see both those teams to see kind of where they're at the moment.
Yep.
But
Mhm.
I don't know that would not be an ideal matchup, but we'll see. You never
You're
know.
hearing it here for the first time. I'm sure you haven't seen it yet. Erling Haaland has
First World Cup
scored
goal.
his first World Cup goal. So,
Nice,
congratulations to Erling.
nice. I remember when I used to like you, dude.
I was about to say one of the standout football professionals we have in the game today. So,
Just kidding.
um,
I still like
two
Holland.
different sides of the coin here.
You want to get it, Luke. One day, Luke will have a club that he supports, and then he'll understand a little bit.
Maybe one day I'll understand. We'll see. I don't know.
What?
But I think that will bring us to the end of this podcast. The best thing you all can do at this point is hit that subscribe button. We're going to continue to be doing these episodes throughout the course of the World Cup. Hopefully, it is, going all the way up to the World Cup final where the U.S. is facing off against Germany in the final, right?
Man, I cannot pick.
But we'll see how that goes. So if you want to stay informed, though, and especially know about U.S. men's national team going ons and our tactical analysis on how they're playing, how the results play out, then Top Ends Which Wins is the best spot for you. So keep coming back. But Paul, before we close it out, any final thoughts for our listeners out there?
No, man, just enjoy. I can tell you that so far with this World Cup, it has exceeded my expectations. Preferably, maybe a little bit just due to the U.S. performance that we got against Paraguay, but in all actuality, like there's been some great games so far in this tournament. You're just going to see more of that, even in the moments too, where Curacao and also all these smaller teams having like moments they never thought they'd have at a World Cup. I'm not standing here shilling for FIFA saying the expanded format is good, but like even seeing those moments is really cool at
Yeah,
times.
I agree.
But yeah, just enjoy it while we have it. Won't be back for another 4 years, so just lock in. Let us know if you want to ask, like, if you want to talk about different results, you want to talk about teams, tactics, all that stuff. Feel free. We're
Also,
gonna be here.
while you're thinking about that, if you want to think about something else, let us know if you'd be interested in something like a Discord group or something like that. We'd be happy to get that
Yeah,
together. So if that's something that interests you and you're still listening at this point in the pod, leave a comment below and we'll start to get that together because it's something we've been thinking about doing, but just need some feedback from you all on that. As far as my final thoughts for the listeners, I would advise everyone, don't forget your afternoon coffees. This World Cup has been a lot of fun
this is a sponsored ad break by FIFA, by the way.
for Owala. It's actually not. We're not. You didn't see that Owala. No, but I think it's one of those where it's been a lot of fun to really kind of sink our teeth into this and enjoy the football for being the football itself, right? The sake of watching the sport. And I've really gotten a lot of joy out of it. And I hope you all are getting that too. I know both Paul and I have really enjoyed
Yeah.
this World Cup up to this point. Setting aside all the negative aspects of it, it's been such a great experience so far. So continue to stick with us through the remainder of the World Cup. We will continue to bring you guys really great content. Hopefully, that's how you all see it as well. But I think that is going to be an end for us. And it's been a lot of fun to talk with you all today. Paul, until next time, we'll talk with you all soon.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon.